Hello, my name is Gus, but you can call me BatGus, and we are back with our Batman the Animated Series commentary. And today's episode is going to be a very fun episode, in my opinion. One episode that is very interesting called The Cape and Cowl Conspiracy. And just like the title says, it has a conspiracy in the plot that is very, very interesting. So, as usual, I'm going to do my countdown from 3 to 1 so we can watch the episode together if you are with your DVD box set or Blu-ray box set or a streaming service that has Batman the Animated Series. So let's go in 3, 2, 1, play. The Warner Bros. Logo is on the screen. And like I said, this episode is a very interesting one because it has this villain that kind of blackmails Batman and puts him in a very, how can I say, difficult situation. And there are some challenges or some tasks that Batman has to do that he has no other choice but to obey what this criminal makes him do. So there is this kind of clash where each character has to use their mental skills to beat each other. So it's a very interesting plot. And this is one of those episodes that you see the variety of plots and styles of stories that this TV animation had, and that's why it makes Batman the Animated Series my favorite animation of all time, just because of this variety and interesting plots from episode to episode. And the episode starts with this guy in a park at night, and he's following some instructions to go to a designated place that almost like the Riddler, he has to follow these clues that are done in a sort of Riddler way, right? With these riddles that the villain of the episode gives them. And this villain, he's like this kind of a mastermind of blackmailing people in order to get some specific information from them. So he is hired by rich guys to be able to blackmail certain people from governments or other areas of high society in order to get these informations that the rich people paid him to get. Right now, this guy that he needs to get the information, he ends up in a trap where he gets swollen by quicksand. And the more he gets swollen by the quicksand, the guy, the villain of the episode, threatens him to give the information. If not, he will die. Right? So it's a very interesting villain. Then we go to Commissioner Gordon's office, where he's talking to Batman. The usual exposition scene. And he's talking about what happened with the guy that we just saw. And the idea is that the villain was blackmailing him to get some bonds that would lead to a high quantity of money, right? And the name of the villain is revealed to be Josiah Wormwood, right? So Wormwood is this main bad guy of the episode. So Batman gets a file in Gordon's office, and this file contains the identity of a millionaire that is in the city, which a guy who calls himself the Baron. And this guy, the Baron, he apparently has connections with Wormwood, right? So the Baron is in this party receiving a prize from some good deeds that he did for the high society. And once he is about to start a speech, we have this very cool scene where Batman swings onto the stage and basically kidnaps the guy right in front of everybody. So it's very cool. People laugh, and Batman flies with the guy all across the place until he takes the guy to the balcony, and Batman uses his interrogational skills to get some information about Wormwood. And obviously these interrogational skills always have some relation with hanging a guy on a tall building or doing something like that, which is something that we see the Christian Bale's Batman do a lot in the Dark Knight trilogy, right? He always takes the guy to a huge height in order to get some information from that. And this is a very interesting thing about this plot, because there is a reveal at the end of it that it's very interesting and shows how Batman is always ahead of the plan or ahead of the villains. But I don't know. I when I looked or when I examined this plot, I always think Batman just went through so much work just to get one information. I cannot say right now what it is, but anyway, back to the plot. The Baron calls Wormwood and gives him a task to get the Batman's cowl. A very interesting job. He wants only the Batman's cowl because the Baron was ridiculed by Batman in the event, right? In the party that he was. So he wants to ridicule Batman, or he wants to put Batman down. He doesn't want the Bat dead, but wants him to give up from his cowl, which is a very interesting challenge when Wormwood gets intrigued by this job. So this is the beginning of the real plots of the episodes. And then we have this amazing thing happening for the first time in the show. That is the first appearance of the bat signal. We never had a bat signal in the show before, which is very interesting because I don't think anybody missed that element so far. But because we didn't even remember that, right? We didn't even remember that the show still didn't have the bat signal. And Batman, it's introduced so casually, is not a big point at all in the episode. That it makes you wonder. Maybe Paul Dini and Bruce Timm just went, you know what? we haven't introduced the bat signal yet. Why not just do it in this episode? Like, if it was nothing, right? Just like that. And I always thought that it was very interesting the way they just do it without making too much of a deal of it. But anyway, so Batman receives another riddle, another charade from the villain, and he figures out that by the riddle, he has to go to a specific place, and this place is like a kind of a old railroad, right? And Batman goes to this railroad. He enters a train. He follows some instructions from Wormwood that is talking in a megaphone. And then he sees a woman tied in one of the tracks that a train is coming. So Batman is trapped inside the one of the trains, and he has no way out. So Wormwood threatens him to deliver the cow, to throw the cow on a gap on the floor of the train, and then he will release him in order for him to save the girl. So Batman, even though he has this threat, he finds a way to leave the train and go after the girl in the track. But then he finds out that the whole thing is a hologram, and the girl was not real. So the train that was about to hit her hits another a wall of bricks and gets off the tracks. And then Batman eventually loses Wormwood of sight. Then we have this very funny scene where Wormwood talks with the Baron on the phone. And they are discussing the plan. And the fun thing about this scene is that the Baron hangs up on the face of Wormwood before he finishes his sentence. So he feels very insulted by that. But it's a funny scene. Then we have another riddle. Again, I don't know why they created a villain that kind of works with riddles, just like the Riddler, before the Riddler is actually introduced in this show. And believe me, he will be introduced, I believe, in this season in the show. Yeah. Here in the second season, he will be introduced. But anyway, we get this little taste of a villain that is kind of like the Riddler, sorry. So this new riddle takes Batman to a wax museum in Gotham. And again, it's a trap, right? It's just a big trap to get Batman to deliver his cow. So he gets inside the place. He finds these statues made of wax. And this is a very cool scene because Wormwood is always ahead of the Batman in the episode, right? He is always giving him challenges to deal with. In this case here, there is a huge light on the ceiling of the wax museum that melts the statues, and eventually this wax starts to flood the room where Batman is. So he has to escape from this place, but it's a very hard task. I mean, it will be a very hard task eventually to get rid of this trap. He tries to rope himself towards a skylight on the top of the room, but a trapdoor closes first and cuts the rope. Then Batman tries to use his own belt to break the lights above him. He because since the belt is heavy, but he doesn't have any success. The statues keep melting, and he gets all covered in wax. And then one of the statues has this metal skeleton, right? To kind of like a rack to maintain it standing. So once the wax melts over this skeleton rack, he gets it and uses it as a spear to break the lights. So now he has success, but then Wormwood releases a gas into the room through the broken lamp. And now Batman has no way out, so he has to give up from his cowl. And this is where Wormwood releases the gas. I mean, he sucks the gas out of the room, and Batman gives him the cowl. Finally, he removes the cowl and tosses it into another light. But he has a under mask, or a second mask under the cowl to hide his identity, right? So Wormwood feels satisfied even so, because he got what he wanted, that was to finally get the cowl of the Batman. Anyway, and this is where this part of the plot finishes, and we see Wormwood delivering the cowl to the Baron, and the Baron is gonna pay him with a check, but he says, first, let's drink to celebrate the success. And Wormwood is very curious to know why the Baron wanted Batman's cowl. Why all this work just for a cowl? And but before the Baron answers him, he asks what he was going to do with the bonds that we talked in the beginning of the episode that he got from the guy that was trapped in the beginning of the episode, right? So the Baron needs to know, he wants to know where is the location of the bonds and who's gonna get it. So Wormwood says that an agent is going to get this in a specific vault in a certain place. So he reveals the whole thing to the Baron, and then the Baron reveals that he wanted Batman's cowl to wear it because actually he is the Batman. He is Bruce Wayne. He is the Batman, right? Bruce Wayne doesn't appear in this episode. He is Batman using a mask of the Baron, rubber mask. So the whole time, at least after the whole party thing where the Baron was ridiculed by Batman, it was Batman all along playing the Baron. And so this is the plot twist in this episode that I mentioned. That is kind of funny. Why all this job of playing along with Wormwood and falling into his traps by purpose, right? Just to get the specific information that he got now. It looks like a lot of work just to get that. But, like I said, that shows that Batman is ahead of the game most of the times with his villains. And so it was very smart of him to create this whole plan just to get the information. So now we have a final fight that takes place in a gym, believe it or not. And Wormwood has a key that will open the vault with the bonds that he mentioned. So him and Batman, they have this fight, which is a very cool fight. They evolve some weights, and it's a very it's a little funny because both Wormwood and Batman, they end up fighting with the bars of weight like they were nothing, like they didn't weigh anything, right? So it's a very funny scene. Eventually, Wormwood trips and almost falls from the building by going through a window, but he hangs up. I mean, he holds in the Batman's cape, and Batman pulls him back, and and then he tries to punch Batman, but then Batman throws him in the pool of the gym, and eventually he gets the key back. And yes, Gordon is waiting for Wormwood, and he arrests the man with his cops. Batman gives him the key with the bonds, and eventually they will arrest the agent that was supposed to get these bonds with the key. And then we see Gordon speaking with Wormwood in prison through his jail cell, talking about that the agent that was supposed to get the bonds told everything about him, so he's basically screwed now, right? So there's no escape from him. And then Gordon gives him a present that was delivered by someone, and there is a riddle from Batman in a letter, and when he opens the bag, there is Batman's cowl inside it. So Batman not only gets to win in the end, but decides to give him a little prank as well, because somehow Batman is a prankster in this episode. And this is it, guys. Another episode of Batman the Animated Series. If you are liking this content, as usual, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the BATGUS channel. See you in the next Bat video, and bye-bye.